guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I will be showing you how to create this pink and red look using the new Sweet Oasis palette by Morphe, aka the 35S palette. And this palette is new, and the face of this campaign was I Love Sarai, also known as Karen Gonzalez. So I'm just prepping my lips now using my Kopari lip gloss, and for my skin I'm using Bare Minerals Skin Longevity, and I'm applying this before I begin my makeup application. So for primer, I am using the Tarte Clay primer, and this is a blurring primer. It smooths out all your pores and texture. I focus this on my T-zone especially. I do have a lot of texture on my skin, so I love to use a blurring and smoothing primer. For foundation today, I'll be using the Infallible foundation by L'Oreal, and this is a drugstore foundation that I fell in love with when I was in high school, and still to this day, this is one of the most mattifying foundations I have ever tried. And I am in the shade 103, but right now I am using the shade 105. This was my summer shade, but I tend to get away with it with a lighter concealer. For the foundation application, I am using a brush, and this is a round synthetic brush, so I buff this all over. And don't forget to go under the chin and even on the ear, especially if you're using a color that's a little darker of a tone than your normal skin tone. For concealer, I am using the Infallible concealer by L'Oreal, and this one is a hydrating formula. I like to use a hydrating formula for my under eye especially. It helps reduce creasing, and I'm applying this on the little spots where I want a little bit more coverage. So also I'll apply it on my lids just to get a nice even base before I'm ready to apply eyeshadows. So go ahead and buff this in together to blend seamlessly with the foundation. For eyebrows today, I will be using my favorite Anastasia product, and this is the Dip Brow Pomade. And I'm using a Bobbi Brown dual-ended brow brush, and this one is more of a stiff brush, so it allows me to apply the product and spread it out evenly. And then just brush up with the spoolie in upwards motions. Lately I've been doing more of a straight brow versus an arched brow, just because I haven't been able to go and get my brows cleaned up because of this pandemic. So I just do what I can with what I have and try to fill it in evenly so it looks a little bit more put together. Once the brows are complete, I will move on to the blush and bronzer. I'll be using the Pretty Vulgar Cosmetics face palette in the name Nesting Bee Face. I'll be mixing those two bronze shades together using a fluffy brush. This brush is actually a very inexpensive brush. I got this at Ross. It was a set of 3. It was a fluffy brush, face brush, and a contour brush, but I'm using the fluffy one today, and it's a round, a little bit of a tapered finish to it, and I've been loving this for an all over bronze lately. I focus most of the product onto the high points of my cheeks, my widow's peak on the forehead, and a little bit under the chin. And this is the other brush that came in the pack. This is the contoured brush, and I'm just dipping that in the darker shade, and I'll work that into the high points of my cheekbone. And also down my nose. And I'm not very precise with this because it's a synthetic brush, so it will buff out the product more so. For the blush, I'll be using the Top Blusher shade, and this is the matte shade in this palette. And I am using a dual-ended brush by Lancome. This is my favorite brush for the cheeks. I use the fluffy side for my blush, and then the other side, the more condensed, smaller side, for the highlight. And I love, love, love this highlight in this palette. It's not overpowering, but it is still a beautiful highlight. So I'll apply this to the high points of my cheek, the tip of my nose, my cupid's bow, down the bridge of my nose, and also on the high points of my brow bone and just slightly on the forehead. Now the best part of this video, it's the Sweet Oasis palette by Morphe. This palette retails for $25 on the Morphe website. So to start, I'll be using a loose blending brush, and this is by Morphe as well. And I'll be using this for the first color that I will be putting down on my lids, and I'm gonna focus this as a nice wash. I'm using the color Love Struck of this palette, and I'll just go into this color a few times and build up the color in the crease. Here I'll be mixing the Hibiscus Blossoms and the Private Villa shades together, and I'll just be applying this right over top of Love Struck. This will just brighten it up a little bit more. Next, I'll be using the Picture Perfect shade. This is a bit more of a magenta color, and I'll be applying this right over top as well, emphasizing the outer V of my eye. And here I'm just using the side to side motions. I'm trying to do my best to keep it more on the lower and outer portion of the eye versus bringing it all the way up to the crease. Very focused to the outer V portion of the eye. The next color is the Wonderlust color, and this is more of a cream textured shadow. So I'll be applying this with my fingers. I have tried these cream, I would say they're more of a shiny versus a glitter, maybe a little bit of a metallic. So I use these shades with a finger. I did try with a brush, and I feel applying with a finger made it a lot more pigmented. You can build it up with a brush, but I feel like applying it with a finger gives the best result. Okay, going back into the palette, I'll be taking that second shade called Wind Surf, and I'll be applying this right to the inner corner of my eye. And as you can see here, I did try applying with a brush, but I figured that using the finger gave a lot more pigment. You see that? Yep, definitely use a finger. So using my ring finger, I'll apply it to the inner corner of the eye and just blend it a little bit out. Going back with the blending brush, I'm just going to blend upwards so it looks a little bit more blown out, and just to make sure I take care of any harsh edges. And then using whatever's left from the Picture Perfect shade brush, I'm just going to go ahead and buff that into the lower lash line. I'm being very careless here because it is the lower lash line and I feel like it's more forgiving. It doesn't have to be too perfect, just a little bit of color to tie in the whole look together. Today I'll be using the Lancome Definicils mascara in black. Let me tell you, this mascara is the OG. This was the first mascara I've ever used. If not this one, then definitely the Hypnose Drama, and both are by Lancome. My mom actually used to love this brand. This was all she ever bought from Macy's. So growing up, I always would steal from her makeup and use her mascara. The Definicils is known for being lengthening. It's also separating because this mascara does not clump. You can go back and apply a second, third, fourth, even fifth coat and it will not clump. A fun fact about me is I used to work at the Lancome counter in Macy's. So I had, come for full circle from stealing my mom's mascara to selling it in Macy's. And this is probably our number one seller when I was there. So I'll be using a generous amount on the top and the bottom lashes, and you can definitely see a difference from when I'm using it. For the lips, I'll be using, surprise surprise, the Morphe lip liner in the shade Love Bite. It kind of acts as a barrier so that your lipstick doesn't smear on the edges. I am using a MAC lipstick in the shade Sin. And over top, I'll be using a Lancome Juicy Tube. And this is in the shade Hallucination. And that's my finished look using the new Morphe 35S palette, also known as the Sweet Oasis. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you like these voiceover videos. They are a bit longer than my other videos. I do make makeup mini tutorials, which is a series on my Instagram. You could follow me on Instagram. It's at makeup.bycyn, spelled C-Y-N. And I just want to say congratulations to our giveaway winner, Amy1234. I left you a message in the comments on my last video. Please reach out to me whenever you can. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. I'll see you in the next one. And until then, I'll see you guys later. Bye.